So no matter your conviction around emergency funds, whether you're somebody who believes you only need a couple to a few months, or you're somebody who believes you need years in reserves, this video is going to be a very important response video to a video that I already shot covering we need to talk about your emergency fund. This is going to be a direct response to a handful of comments that I received that mostly were trolling, but to some extent or another, I believe people have genuine questions around the alternatives that I presented in the video around emergency funds. I'm going to give you my perspective again on emergency funds with a little more clarity. I'm going to also talk about why I suggested the alternatives I suggested on emergency funds and why I didn't just take the conventional build up 6, 12, 24 months reserve perspective on it. And I'm going to give you some additional clarity on why it is important to understand the value of where your emergency fund should be in this paradigm, in this financial system that we're in today, the economic environment we're in today. It is very important. So the first thing I want to cover is the foundational component of your emergency fund, because there's a lot of misconception around it. Now, if you see me looking down, it is because I am reading the responses and my responses to the comments from my phone. So you'll see me doing that just because I wanted to capture a relatively organic response once I read the comments. So that's what I'm looking down giving you. And of course, I'm going to give you just organic context. So just stick through. I guarantee you'll get value from this video if emergency funds are relevant or important to you at all. So the first thing I want to clarify is the base of what makes an emergency fund work in the first place. The common concept has been built around emergency funds being a one-time lump sum that you put up to prepare for this mythical said emergency that you can encounter, or any of us can encounter. And the base premise is you have this lump sum of money so you can ensure that if an emergency of any kind comes, whether that's a car breakdown, a repair in your home, loss of a job, etc., you have the ability to reach for an immediate stash of cash to cover that emergency fund and buffer you from having to take out debt or disturbing your investments. That is the common premise and foundation of the emergency fund for the everyday person, small business, whatever the case may be. Cool. What I want to clarify is that only really works. The emergency fund concept really only works when you have monthly cash flow. It is not just about the one-time emergency fund. That's important for you to hang on to through the rest of this video. In order for you to be prepared for emergencies legitimately, you have to be prepared for the ongoing probability of an emergency. There's nothing stopping in life for you to have concurrent emergencies. And so you planning for a one-time ordeal is not in itself going to be fundamentally sound like you may be thinking it is. So that's the number one thing that I need to clarify. Emergency funds are not just predicated on a one-time lump sum. Because if you have a one-time lump sum of cash put up, but you turn around and have no or negative cash flow every month, you're still in a very dangerous position. So the next component of this is your monthly cash flow is what makes the alternatives that I'm providing you in the original video work in the first place. Hang on to that. So why do you need alternative financial emergency resources? My response to that was because what happens when your godlike emergency gets drained and another emergency arrives? As I just stated, what happens if you have a concurrent set of emergencies and the initial 3, 6, 9, 12-month fund that you put up is absorbed and something else goes wrong? What's the plan? If you don't have cash flow or strategically positioned alternative financial resources, what's the plan? What are you going to do at that point in time? So credit cards are a bad idea. One of the responses that I got, one of the comments that I got, which some of them are on the thumbnail, others of them are not, they're in the comment section of that video, was they didn't agree with the consensus of the video. They drew out a long consensus of their opposing argument to what I put in the video, which mostly honestly aligned with what I put in the video, with the differentiating factor of using credit cards potentially as an emergency fund. So one of the things that the viewer put in the comments was, credit cards are not a good idea. Why would you use that? you're essentially going to end up paying the same money or more using credit cards. Not fully correct if you're doing this properly. So what I put basically was credit cards are a bad idea. That's what that was stated in the comment. You'll pay the same or more. Well, if you use a credit card that is 0%, 0% interest period, strategically as I laid out in the video, your emergency is 2 or 3 months, and you have 12 to 18 months to pay off 0%. And if you can't pay off that emergency of 2 or 3 months in 12 to 18 months before you incur interest, it's not the product, it's a user error. It's the implementer. You're the problem. The reason that you're not going to end up paying the same or more on a credit card is a couple reasons. Number one, you're using 0%. Credit cards allow you to pay the same as cash, but not lose your opportunity costs. So if you do have an emergency fund somewhere, or you have investments that you potentially can draw from, you don't have to disturb that money if you use credit cards effectively. You're not paying any interest. The next thing is, when you're using a credit card, 8 out of 10 times, it's gonna give you rewards points on top of the 0% interest. Some of the best credit cards in the marketplace will give you 6, 9, 12, 15, or 18 months at 0%, and it will turn around and give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% cash back at the same time. So you're not only not gonna pay the interest, but you're also gonna get rewards points, which technically means that you came out better than using cash. Now, for those of you who are looking at credit cards and thinking they're this deadly financial tool, or they're not strategically designed, or they're not innately designed to be a reserve fund. That's what a lot of people's problem with the concept of credit cards and emergency funds being brought up at the same time. Like, it's a credit card, it's used for this, it's used for that. And most times when it's brought up for most people in mainstream America, it's brought up as this financial detriment or downfall. Well, when you look at classification, something important for you to understand is a fork is not classified as a deadly weapon, but it clearly could be used as such. It's all about how you use it. It has nothing to do with something being a fixed item and only having that one purpose it serves. It's designed for a particular thing at that given time. But just like almost anything that exists, it can be used for multiple functions. I'm recording this on a phone. It has a camera. Does that mean that it can't be an effective camera because it's a phone by designation? No. A fork is an eating utensil. It can be a deadly weapon if somebody decides to use it as such. A credit card is used for spending, but it can be an effective emergency fund tool if you have the brain capacity to use it as such. I digress. So the next thing was a mindless response that said, blueprint for financial destruction. That was crafty wordplay. Essentially trying to state that I'm going to lead you down a path of destruction if you follow my guidance, or rather my perspective on how you can manage an emergency fund without having to waste the opportunity cost of sitting on enormous amounts of cash, which a lot of people are doing, by the way. So for all of those who are just bored and looking to troll, the number one way to spot experienced and capable individual is to watch them do or take something conventional or basic and do it or present it in a unique way. I've been a financial professional and an expert for over 13 years. I'm in my 30s. My content is difficult for some people because it's too high level. I don't care if Dave Ramsey is your blood cousin. Having too much in cash is stupid and irresponsible. The end. Not safe. It's not a true expert. Not a true expert can help you take a simple concept like emergency, and you can complete the same task in multiple different ways, as effective or even more effective than the conventional route. So essentially what I'm saying is my ability to take an emergency fund and give you alternative financial ways to accomplish it without costing yourself the opportunity cost of not investing, not doing something else more productive with your money, and sitting on a hoard of cash that is taking a guaranteed loss in purchasing power to inflation every single day on the compounded basis annually. I'm showing you ways you can take other accessible financial tools and cover emergencies without having to waste a bunch of money in a pile, losing value definitively. That is essentially a high level of skill. If you don't have the brain cells to comprehend what I'm putting out there, that doesn't mean that my pathway that I'm teaching you is destructive. It means that you don't have the capacity to understand it. So that thus, therefore, it must not work. You're just stupid. And that's okay. Not everybody's inclined to understand high levels of thinking, but it has nothing to do with the information that was provided. There are several people in the comment section, more than not actually, who understood everything I put down in that video. And to all of those who did comment positively on the video, which, by the way, I don't need every video to have no kickback or rebuttals. You know, somebody, listen, if you have an educated debate or response around something I put in the video, please drop it in the comment section. I have no problem intellectually debating or backing up whatever I put out on my videos. And I also am willing to admit if I'm wrong or need to critique something. But people like this who are just flat out trolling for the sake of it, and potentially other people who are literally torn on how emergency funds work and how they should function or how they should set one up, I want to clarify for you. I don't want the comment section to have the occasional idiot leading you to some level of confusion where you're not taking in the information effectively that could be useful for you. Shout out to everybody who left a responsible comment, whether agreeing or disagreeing, and that had the capacity to understand it, to either agree with it or rebut it in the first place. So my next statement was, cash gets torched. Having some is absolutely basic prudence, no doubt about it. There's no debate or argument about that. But aside from that, your money needs to stay in motion. Stagnant money is dead money, period. I shot another video saying, comparing money to blood, and how when blood basically clots up or it stops being in motion and builds up in a particular part of the body, it's called a clot, and it's usually a bad thing. Money is the same thing in the financial system. For the most part, yes, you want to keep a reserve fund, you want to keep some cash on disposal, but at the end of the day, you want to keep the bulk of your money in motion. Spending, you want to invest it, you want to inject it into a business, something productive, because that's what it's designed to do, especially in a capitalistic society. So, aside from that, I put a couple keynotes in there as well. Even if you have an emergency stash and it's in a high yield savings account getting 4%, why would you disturb that return on an emergency that you realistically can cover at 0% and possibly get rewards points, still pay it off over time without paying a cent in interest and disturbing that cash stash that's getting the 4%? Like, let's truly define an emergency, because some of you are taking a broken toenail and rushing yourself to the emergency room. Let's be for real for a second. Why in the hell would you disturb cash that's getting a reasonable return in an abnormal market, by the way, because interest rates being at 4 or 5% on a high yield savings account is not really normal given the last 20 years or so. Why would you disturb that unique opportunity when, if you have the financial IQ and the capability to go out, use your borrowing power to go out and find a financial tool where you still don't pay any interest, you're going to actually get rewards money back and still accomplish the same thing of backing yourself up or covering a potential emergency? I don't know. You tell me. Last keynote that I left is essentially most of my content is strategy that is for individuals that can think themselves out of a brown paper bag. I know that everybody that catches this video might not be able to do that, but this is who this content is for. It is for individuals who do have stable incomes, who have financial access to financial resources, and are looking for unique and creative ways to leverage those financial resources to advance themselves financially, who want to break out of the normal concept and construct of Boom-onomics, Dave Ramseyite, save cash for everything, don't use any other financial tool because you'll kill yourself and murder your kids. Like, if you want to be able to understand how to use other financial resources to not only accomplish the baseline goal, but potentially even come out ahead. Imagine turning a financial emergency into some extra cash back or travel rewards points and not pay a penny of interest if you do it effectively. It's doable. Imagine having other financial resources, maybe like cash value life insurance or maybe just having your investment structured in a way where you have a line of credit drawn from there and can pay minimal interest depending on the emergency or depending on the opportunity and not disturb your investments. Opportunity cost does not get covered enough in the financial world. Not enough people are talking about how sitting in cash, how not investing effectively, consistently is one of the worst financial decisions you can make. You're literally losing to inflation. And on the back end of that, you're not investing at the same time. That is a recipe for guaranteed disaster. You're at least giving yourself a shot by using alternative financial concepts to manage emergencies and unexpected financial expenses. That is the name of the game in a society that doesn't honor prudence much anymore. Our government has not a drop of it. The Federal Reserve doesn't honor it. The mechanisms that are affecting the real impact of our money don't care about prudence. They want money in motion, they want continuous growth, and they want asset appreciation. That's the name of the game. You sitting back over here trying to use your grandmother's financial strategies from the 40s is not going to do you any good, my G. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. But any of you who are out here, another comment that was left is like, the only good debt is the debt that you're owed. Oh my God. First off, most of y'all are corny as shit. Like, I gotta be honest, most of y'all are lame as shit. The next thing that I have to say is, you have to have the confidence in your capability and your intellectual capacity and your ability to execute to believe you can take anything and get it to function the way you need it to function. Financial products are just a tool that can usually be used in multiple capacities. They don't have a singular function. They can accomplish multiple things if you have the capacity to think your way out of a brown paper bag, as I stated earlier. If you have the ability to think and come up with creative concepts that will allow those products and those tools to function in multiple capacities, they'll do so. They're going to function however you want them and you design them to function. So that having been said, I wanted to respond to some of those comments. The video is not edited with them popping up all over the screen. So those of you who were able to stick it out, I appreciate you. This is JP from Blueprint for Prosperity, checking out, bringing you the content that helps you master relationship banking, maximize your borrowing capacity so you can customize your blueprint for prosperity. To all my pioneers, welcome back. To my new viewers, welcome in. I want you to comment down below. Let me know your perspective on emergency funds. Let me know your perspective on how you're approaching it. Do you understand the economic system we're in its current day and why we may need to use alternative means instead of just stacking large sums of cash? Are you in a position where you have such a good income where you can stack large amounts of cash and still invest effectively at a high level? Comment down below. God bless you if that's the case. Let me know what your position is on emergency funds and what that looks like for you. Other than that, I will be leaving links down below for you to follow me on Instagram. I have branched out on Instagram where you'll be able to follow content being rolled out there to my committee of pioneers and other viewers coming in to be able to join a committee in a different variant than just YouTube. Other than that, like, comment, share, subscribe. Y'all know how to support the channel. There's other ways to do so down below. And I want each and every one of you to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.